Welcome to the Angus Report, a news program for cattle producers.
From American Angus Association headquarters in St. Joseph, Missouri, we bring you the week's top headlines, including analysis that points to a recovery in the beef cattle business.
A North Dakota study looks at lower cost rations and improved forages to save on feed costs.
And we meet both the World Auctioneer Champion and the newly appointed Junior Angus Ambassador.
This is the Angus Report. Hello, I'm Bob Cervera.
And I'm Crystal Albers.
Our top news this week. A good relationship with a cattle buyer can make all the difference when it comes to marketing your calves. But commercial cattlemen must successfully communicate the value of their calves, says Tom Brink of Five Rivers Cattle Feeding. He discusses the important link between cow-calf producers and feeders.
If you have better genetics behind your cattle, those are the kind of things that you do want to communicate to prospective buyers. That may be as simple as letting that buyer know what the EPDs and the indexes are behind those cattle, letting them know that they're from high value in-merit genetics, and maybe communicating the $B if they're all from high $B bulls. If that's what your calf crop is sired by, then that's something that whether you're selling on the video auction or you're communicating with different buyers and using an order buyer or dealing directly with feedlots, I mean, that's the kind of information that you should definitely share with them. I think especially for those sellers who have the high quality cattle, they should be motivated to communicate more information on their cattle because it's a good story to tell and they're likely to get a higher price for it.
While the nation's beef herd has been edging downward since 2007, prospects are improving. That's according to a recent report from Chris Hurt of Purdue University. According to Hurt's analysis, the beef industry is set to reverse its spiral in cow herd numbers caused by drought and high feed costs. Pastures and ranges have returned to favorable conditions for much of the country, including the Northeast, the Southeast, Midwest, and the Northern Great Plains. Improvement is also noted for the Central and Southern Plains, although drought conditions are still lingering. Nationally, 73% of pastures are rated in the fair, good, or excellent condition this year, compared with only 46% at this time last year. The Southeast and Midwest should have the pasture and feed to begin heifer retention, Hurt suggests, and initial retention of heifers will likely occur this fall in areas primarily east of the Mississippi River, plus the Delta, the Western Corn Belt, and the Northern Great Plains. Hurt does note expansion will be slow, however, requiring long-term investment and a more extended period of favorable returns. Hurt's complete analysis is available online.
A North Dakota State University study is looking at how to reduce corn usage in feeding cattle. The study focuses on reducing the amount of time cattle spend in the feedlot by using lower cost rations and grazing improved forages. For example, cattle grazing on standing corn in one portion of the study saw gains comparable to the feedlot.
A couple of things we've worked on is we've put cattle to allow them to graze standing corn, and it's amazing how much utilization they will have of that. And we've seen gains comparable to feedlot gains, 3.5 pounds plus a day on cattle, growing cattle grazing standing corn. And this allows us to get those cattle up over 1,000 pounds, maybe 1,100 pounds, before they'll actually enter a feedlot for what could be a shorter feeding period, maybe 90 to 100 days versus 140 to 160 days. Which may be more typical. And so we think that we can reduce our costs of gain across the whole growing and finishing period by the utilization of these sorts of things. Another project we looked at is we looked at supplementing grass cattle with distillers grains. We find that we could increase gains substantially on grass cattle before they entered the feedlot just by feeding a fairly small amount of distillers grains, and we found that there was actually no differences between tenderness, juiciness, and flavor.
Officials from New Zealand and Taiwan recently announced a trade agreement that will eliminate duties on Taiwan's beef imports from New Zealand in just 2 years. Taiwan is a top market for U.S. beef exports, so should producers be concerned about a price advantage for New Zealand beef? We go to economist Aaron Bohr with the U.S. Meat Export Federation for an explanation.
With New Zealand's free trade agreement with Taiwan, those duties will be cut in half for the first year and eliminated in the second year. So New Zealand would have a bit of a price advantage with their FTA. We're focused mostly on our higher value grain-fed cuts to Taiwan, for example, rib fingers and hind shank. Those are some kind of key Taiwan items but we also ship short plate, chuck rolls, short ribs, the same items you think of for Asia in general. And Taiwan generally demands choice. So we have sort of the U.S. premium already built in that we're supplying these higher-end grain-fed products. So prices matter, but U.S. is just supplying a different and a grain-fed product into Taiwan.
Thanks, Erin. The agreement, which is expected to begin in January 2014, is still subject to ratification by each country.
The past 2 decades have been both trying and favorable for U.S. agriculture. In a recent look into the stability of farm income, the Illinois Farm Business Farm Management Association reports major highs and lows for the state's farming operations, including beef cattle, dairy, hogs, and grain. Represented by cow-calf herds and feeder cattle finishing enterprises, the beef farms range from a low of minus $15,000 in 1998 to a high of almost $150,000 in 2011. Now in comparison, grain farms saw a low of about $18,000 in 1998 and a high of more than $300,000 last year. Visit the study's website for more information.
Cattlemen gathered in Denver, Colorado earlier this month for the Cattle Industry Summer Conference. The event featured meetings of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, the Cattlemen's Beef Board, American National Cattlewomen, and the National Cattlemen's Foundation. Attendees gathered to discuss current issues and policy for each of the respective organizations.
Yeah, the summer meeting for NCBA is really our business meeting. It's the opportunity for our 6 policy committees to get together and discuss our position on a whole host of issues, from ag policy, the Farm Bill, tax and credit, international trade. And so our focus today has been to allow those parties to debate several issues and talk about what NCBA's position is going to be moving forward. Some of the biggest topics include things such as immigration, the Farm Bill, and where we stand on country of origin labeling. Today really was about updates and status. We didn't have any new resolutions that have popped up. Most of our focus at this meeting was on determining whether or not some of these old policies would stay in place.
When the Angus Report returns, how DNA inspires action in Angus operations now.
And we meet the National Junior Angus Association's new Angus Ambassador.
Visit angus.org to continue watching this episode of the Angus Report.
The Angus Report is brought to you by Merck Animal Health. Why not prevent respiratory disease before it steals from your bottom line? Vista Once protects your calves with the most complete respiratory disease coverage available. And Vision Blackleg vaccines can add 14 pounds per calf at weaning. Contact your veterinarian or animal health supplier today.
Here you go. Thomas Angus Ranch is your nationwide source for Angus genetics that excel on the range, in the feedlot, and on the rail. Thomas Angus Ranch is a performance-oriented program you can trust to put the right genetics in your herd. Visit the Thomas family in Baker City, Oregon for their sale on October 17th. Thomas Angus Ranch, the brand that pays.
We stand for what we believe in. We believe in you. It's more than a job. It's your way of life. Who you are, where you live, and what you do. The way you treat your cattle, your family, your employees, and your neighbors. The water you drink, the air you breathe, and the ground you walk on. What you do every day gives families something to gather around every night. It's about doing what's right for your cattle, your land, your community, and your business. It's your livelihood, and it means as much to us as it does to you. We all believe in responsible beef. Let's stand together at responsiblebeef.com.
Horn flies cost cattle producers nearly $1 billion a year. They interrupt grazing, cause loss of blood, and impact your bottom line. By incorporating Alticid IGR into your supplement program, you can prevent the emergence of adult horn flies. Alticid IGR will significantly reduce stress on your cattle. For pennies a day, you can control the most costly parasite and increase your profitability. Contact your feed supplier to incorporate Alticid IGR today.
Join the team, the Beef Quality Assurance Team. Getting BQA certified shows you're committed to practices that produce the highest quality beef in the world. And by visiting BQA.org, you can take the online certification course at a time that fits your schedule and from the comfort of your home or office. You'll also find lots of helpful tips on improving animal health and animal handling practices. Get certified, BQA certified, because it's about doing the right thing. Visit BQA.org today and become a member of the BQA team.